Hey y'all, my name is Andrea. This is my YouTube channel where I share everything that I'm learning on Etsy. I have been a full-time Etsy seller for 7 years, and so now I want to share everything I'm learning, things I'm trying, things I've learned in the past about Etsy, and just overall being an e-commerce seller, like an online retailer. So today I want to talk about not Etsy specifically, but this definitely applies to e-commerce people, why I switched from WooCommerce to Shopify. So for a little background, I switched from WooCommerce to Shopify this January. So I was on WooCommerce for I think around 2 to 3 years. I don't really know the exact date that I started, but this past January I switched to Shopify. It was a big deal for my shop to move over just because it's always a big deal to change platforms, but it was finally time, and so we switched from WooCommerce to Shopify this past January. So we've had about 4 months on Shopify. The main reason why I wanted to switch more than anything was that Shopify is so much easier. The first easier thing I want to talk about is the design. So it is so much easier to design stuff in Shopify than it is in WooCommerce. I will say that whenever I got my Shopify site, like when we started it, I opted to get a very good theme, I guess. I did a lot of theme research. So we got the Out of the Sandbox Turbo theme for our Shopify site. We have loved it. I've never designed a Shopify site with another theme, and so I don't know if other themes are harder to design with, but I will say that this particular theme was super easy to design with. And just overall, the setup of my Shopify site, once I installed my theme on my site, took 3 days, not even the 3 days of dedicated work. We were still in our January season, which is like the fall off of our big busy season. So it was still kind of busy. And within 3 days, I had my Shopify site launched. So the design on Shopify is so much easier than it is on WordPress. With WordPress, you can do almost anything, which I thought would be limiting when I got to Shopify. But with Shopify, you can also do almost anything because with WordPress, they have plugins. With Shopify, they have apps. It's like basically the same thing, except for that I find that Shopify is so much easier in every way. So that's a huge plus. So I just touched on it, but the integrations are something that I want to talk about in their own category. So on WooCommerce, integrations breaking was like a constant problem with us. So our Facebook pixel would break, like our Facebook app would break, our ShipStation integration would break. What else broke? Oh, Elementor broke all the time. And so we had this issue where like we'd get an order, I'd see it in WooCommerce, it wouldn't go to ShipStation, or like we'd be running Facebook ads and our pixel would break. It was just kind of constant, which is super annoying whenever you're trying to focus on other things. Like I don't want to constantly be fixing my website. And so that is a problem that we have not had at all in Shopify. First of all, some of those integrations aren't even necessary. Like ShipStation isn't even a thing in Shopify because, well, I'm sure it is a thing. I'm sure you can set up ShipStation because then you can integrate other platforms, but we don't need to do that. And so we don't even need to use ShipStation. So there's no issue with like integrations breaking or anything like that. We can ship everything right in Shopify. And that is just amazing. Our Facebook pixel never breaks. All these things never breaks. It's amazing. And that was a constant problem with WooCommerce. And so I'm just super happy that we have that kind of figured out because I don't know. That's something that was a big deal to me because I felt like I was constantly fixing things that were breaking on my site, and it's just too much time. And like, I understand that that's why big businesses have IT departments, but we are a small business and we don't have IT departments. And so I don't have the bandwidth to be marketing my product, sometimes making my product, shipping my product, wearing all these different hats. And then on top of that, like fixing my website all the time. It didn't work. So that was a big benefit of Shopify and is like still a really big benefit of Shopify for us. Tagging on to the integration is a setup of all the integrations. So I also found that a lot of the things I wanted to set up in WooCommerce took a lot more money on the front end. Like Pinterest app is $80 on the WooCommerce. This is just an example. On the WooCommerce site, like the plugin is $80, or you have to pay someone to install your tag for you. With Shopify, it's free. I already mentioned the shipping thing. ShipStation had like a monthly cost, and it's like a lot easier. So a lot of those times that I had to set up apps in WooCommerce, I was hiring someone to do it. Whereas like with Shopify, I can very easily do it all on my own. I'm not tech savvy. Like I definitely can like install themes and I know how to do all that kind of stuff, but I don't do anything with code. Just because it kind of scares me because then your site can break. And so anytime that something required code on WooCommerce, which was more often than I thought it would be, I had to hire someone. And so that has not happened yet with Shopify, which is awesome. So the setup and just the overall integrations is a lot easier on Shopify in my opinion. I mentioned this earlier, but I do want to mention the shipping on Shopify. So it's all within Shopify. This is the case for a lot of things like discounts and all these things. You can get an app, but a lot of these things that you have to get a plugin on WordPress or you have to code on WordPress, you don't have to do on Shopify, which is really nice. So you don't even need an integration software to ship on Shopify. So we were shipping through ShipStation with WooCommerce, and that is not something we need at all within Shopify. So there's no integration to break. It is also very straightforward, like no looking up tutorials on how to ship a Shopify label. You literally just click the order and then click make shipping label, and it's like super, super simple. So that's something that's super nice. Like shipping and processing the orders is very, very easy on Shopify, and has just been way easier on me and my girls who work for me, way easier. So basically to sum that whole easier point up is that everything that is essential to your e-commerce like business is in the basic package in Shopify. It's all right within Shopify. So you can process payments and make coupons and ship orders and collect orders and stuff like that. All of that is set up in Shopify. There's a few apps that we do use. We use like an infinite options app, which is really nice. But for the most part, everything that's essential for most businesses will be directly in the Shopify platform, and you're not going to pay any additional service to add those on. One thing I am super excited to try is the point of sale. My goal this year is to do some sort of in-person sales, either at markets or maybe our own space or whatever. So that is something I'm really excited to try. And I believe it all connects within the same, within your same backend, which is really handy because then even for taxes and stuff like that, all of it's in one spot. And that's with their point of sale, like you can take credit cards and stuff. So we're excited to try that. The next thing I want to talk about is the cost of Shopify, because it is or can seem like a little bit more than WordPress, but in our experience, it's really comparable. And so I do want to mention the cost. So the cost was basically the only reason why we didn't start on Shopify from the very beginning and why it took us so long to switch, which is embarrassing because I kind of pride myself on being good at math. I'm not great at math, but I'm not bad at math. So I'm like, I can't believe I didn't figure this out sooner. So basically I just want to do a breakdown of what we were paying for with WordPress and what we were paying for with Shopify. And I'm like so embarrassed to admit that it's really not that much more. So the two big things that we were paying for with WordPress every single month that are included in Shopify were our hosting and our ShipStation plan. So our hosting was $10 a month. Obviously, if you get more visitors, it'd be more than that. But it was $10 a month with the hosting that we were on, and then $12 a month for ShipStation. So it was all in all $22 a month. Which isn't bad. We still do most of our orders within Etsy, so that is why we were able to get away with those like lower price plans. The basic Shopify plan is $29 a month. So our monthly fee is only $7 higher, which is great. We are more than willing to pay for that, just for the ease of it. And then all of the apps and like all the easy stuff that I mentioned earlier, for all the one-time costs I made with WordPress, I do have to say that Shopify probably ends up being cheaper because I had to hire people to like code stuff out for me and fix breaking problems and set up things that I didn't know how to set up. And so I would guess that over the long haul, Shopify will end up being cheaper than WordPress was for us just because. And I have noticed that, I don't know if this is because of Shopify or because we've been trying harder, but we have like processed far more orders on Shopify in that like 3-month span than we probably done like a year in WordPress. So I don't really know. I don't know if that can be attributed to Shopify or if it's like a bunch of things at once, but it didn't hurt. I will say that. So those are the main reasons why I switched to Shopify and like why I waited so long to switch to Shopify. The biggest reason by far like is that it's easier in a lot of different ways, like I mentioned. For SEO, I think it's comparable. For a lot of other things like that, I think it's really comparable. But the ease of Shopify like cannot be beat. And WordPress integrations breaking and all this stuff, like I felt like I was spending so much time working on my business and working on like my website and stuff that I couldn't actually like market my products or anything because it was just constant breaking, and like I didn't even want to get website orders. Like I didn't even try because they were so hard to process that I was like, I don't even want these. Like please just go through my Etsy. It's so much easier for me. And so now that that's not the case, I can like, literally, I would like not want to post on Instagram because I didn't want to get orders on WordPress. So now it's like we can go full speed ahead with Shopify, and that's super nice. Stuff isn't breaking, easy to process. We love Shopify. So those are kind of my thoughts on like why I switched from WooCommerce to Shopify, and just kind of laying out all the things that I've noticed in the first it's been 4 months. Well, 3 months, I guess. The first 3 months of being on Shopify, and just kind of what we're loving about it and all the differences that we have since noticed from switching to WooCommerce. And we are super happy with our decision to switch. So if you have any more questions about this topic, you can leave them in the comments. If you feel like I missed something, you can let me know in the comments. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking about Shopify and WooCommerce right now. If you're new here, I make new videos every week about Etsy. And so if you want to hang around, you are more than welcome to. You can subscribe. If you are setting up an Etsy shop or you have an Etsy shop, I have a free Etsy shop scorecard you can download. There'll be a link in the comments. And that is just super helpful to make sure that you have all of your T's crossed and your I's dotted for setting up your shop. And so that is all I have to say today. Thank you so much for watching, y'all.